Hello everyone. Today, in Analyzing Everyone, we open our case with Dr. Randall Mindy. This character is played by Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie Don't Look Up. So I won't wait any longer and let's start this episode. We are looking at Leonardo DiCaprio. He plays Dr. Randall Mindy. Randall is an astronomer and teacher of Kate Dibiasky. Dr. Mindy describes his own work as tracing gases in dead galaxies. His dad used to be a middle school geography teacher, and in the main time he was teaching at school, his wife, and thus Randall's mother, was a hairdresser. She used to cut hair out of their kitchen. Not much exciting actually happened in Randall's life, as he experienced one of his emotional moments when his dog Jojo died 2 years ago. This boring lifestyle is also reflected in the style and appearance of Dr. Mindy. He wears typical clothes for someone with a scientific profession. A checked and cheap looking shirt, a shoulder bag, a normal looking pair of glasses, and his chair is tousled too. Besides that, he does have a beard that resembles a mad professor. I mean, look at that thing. It looks like an upside down mountain, but very pointy. Of course, will this boring appearance change after his apprentice Kate Dibiasky discovers a devastating comet that is heading straight for Earth with an almost 100% hit chance. When Mindy has to appear on TV, he is assigned some nice looking clothes from the program. His beard is trimmed down and his hair is fixed and looks much cleaner. This all turned a normal and boring looking man to a handsome man with style and
facial structure.
Due to Mindy's jokes that he makes because of his insecurity and his new appearance, Randall Mindy gets very popular very fast. Gaining popularity also means gaining confidence. All of a sudden, does Mindy care about his appearance and the words he says on television.
America's sexiest scientist is here. Dr. Randall, welcome.
You can see Mindy on covers of magazines, on TV shows and even in commercials and kid-related shows. All talking about the comet in a good way. The way Randall looks with his eyes says it all. He likes the attention and is very confident in what he does. Before the fame, Dr. Mindy was a very nervous and easily upset person. This can be seen when he first talks to Professor Dr. Oglethorpe, or as we may call him Teddy, because
we call him Teddy because he ain't no teddy bear.
I still don't know why this would make sense. In this first phone call between the two, Randall immediately makes clear that he's a nobody.
I haven't published in a while, so you probably haven't heard of me.
Someone that no one should pay attention to. He says that Oglethorpe probably doesn't know him because he didn't publish something in a while. But you can already hear the early desire to be seen, hoping that in some way Teddy did notice Dr. Mindy. Later you will notice his insecurities and anxiety when he's talking to the president. His hands shake, his breathing has a weird rhythm.
It's making me uncomfortable.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to articulate the science.
I know, but it's like so stressful.
And he talks very anxious. Also, don't forget the panic attack before the interview at the Daily Rip, which he manages to overcome by taking some Xanax. Speaking of Xanax, Dr. Mindy is in some way addicted to this drug, as he takes it multiple times during his anxious and insecure phase. Mindy will easily take Xanax whenever he feels any form of stress or panic in his body or mind. Kate Dibiasky is also seen with multiple drugs during the beginning of the movie, letting the viewer think she is the drug addict of the two. But it really is Randall who is addicted. Randall thinks he knows what he's doing, but actually isn't. This is seen when he tells Kate to not take Xanax this time, but in the meanwhile he takes some Xanax himself.
Kate, not this time. Not this time.
The improved self-confidence after the first show and further going into the story certainly does not only have advantages. Randall will think less and less about the urgency of his mission, to let the world know about the dangers of this comet, and more about his media appearance. He's a regular feature at the Daily Rip, is seen in commercials and even thinks he's too good for his own wife, which he cheats on with Brie Eventi, the host of the Daily Rip. When his wife leaves him, he does not even seem to care that much because he's way happier now that he's famous and science's most sexiest man. His wife even throws a jar with antidepressants to his head, to which Randall replied with,
Not so much recently, okay? You know.
Oh, good for you, great.
indicating his happy lifestyle at that moment in time. In the same scene, it also appears that Randall has difficulties under the sheets because of some pills he also gets thrown at his head. Is it Randall's mistake not performing that well in bed with his wife, or is it maybe just his wife's mistake? I don't know really, but it's something new we learn about Randall's life before his fame. He could never have imagined he would like the media world this much. After all, Randall knew nothing about media until he became a celebrity himself. He didn't know there was an app that follows your diet. He never heard of America's greatest talk show, The Daily Rip, and he was also not really impressed by the worldwide known Riley Bina, played by Ariana Grande.
Why don't you mind your own business, you old fuck?
Okay.
After he got popular, he spends hours upon hours on social media, scrolling down to let his audience hear his voice. Randall Mindy thinks his own image as a celebrity is more important than saving the Earth. When the mission with an 80% success rate is cancelled last moment because the comet could be harvested so the rich get richer, he doesn't seem to care. Randall had his questions at first, but after Peter Isherwell briefly talked about his plans, he seemed to see the benefits of harvesting the comet for raw materials. I also think Randall will get a piece of the profits after they would have harvested the comet. I think this due to the fact he still tried to convince Kate and Teddy while they come up with great arguments to consider the risks of following the plan of Peter Isherwell. After some sort of riot, Kate gets pulled in a car and will get taken off the grid. This is the first time Dr. Randall Mindy doubts himself after Oglethorpe says,
"Oh, you did lose the thread in a big way,"
referring back to Mindy's lack of dedication to save the planet. The second time Randall gets thoughts of doing the wrong thing is when Peter Isherwell tells Randall that he will likely
die alone.
due to his algorithms.
Alone.
Randall realizes that leaving his wife was temporary pleasure and that real love is forever. The real turning back to normal point is when President Janie Orlean tells him,
"You're with the grown-ups now, Randall."
This is the moment where Randall has to choose between the mission to save the planet or his own media image. There's no turning back if he chooses the celebrity side, and he realizes this the next time he is featured at the Daily Rip. Randall gets his makeup done as it probably is done as always, but you can see a certain look in his eyes. He's thinking about himself and the mission, thinking about what he should do and what there is to change. In the Daily Rip show itself, he loses his patience and breaks down from the celebrity lifestyle. This is also the most important scene of the film, as you can see all the anger coming out of Randall. He knows that he will lose his current lifestyle but realizes it's the only way to save the Earth. You can also see that Randall has a panic attack just before he breaks down. This is the moment where Randall turns back to what he really is, just like he got that pain in his heart just before he turned into a celebrity. As Randall drives away and Brie Eventi just left him because Randall is also off the grid.
You know, I really thought I loved you. You still there?
No.
And thus not relevant, you see a picture of his wife on his phone, meaning Randall still loves his wife more than Brie even after he declared love to Brie. When Randall sees the comet with his own eyes, he gets the motivation to convince people to care about the comet in his own way. He does everything he can to save the Earth. You see Randall again on the same kids show, this time not speaking like a celebrity should speak on television, but with his heart, not caring about the way you should talk on kids shows. This reflects to the seriousness of the problem, to everyone watching the program. After the news comes in that Peter Isherwell's plan is the only option left over, Randall knows the planet will likely get destroyed. Randall and his wife clear things up for a last time family dinner.
When we dated in college, I fucked Aaron Tran.
At the end, Randall asks,
We really did have everything, didn't we?
this refers to the luxury life we live in today and still doesn't make a sacrifice to save the Earth, but instead try to get even more luxury in our lives. So, let's ask one last question. Who was Dr. Randall Mindy? Dr. Randall has 3 phases. In his first phase, he was boring, lived a normal life, wears normal yet boring clothes. A lot of people will say that he had a boring job as well, studying his gases in dead galaxies. His appearance was professor-like, a big beard with a messy and greasy hairstyle. We also know that he was very anxious, seeking for some sort of recognition, but he is too insecure to let the world know. Randall has normal parents, and as every normal family, a normal house dog. He also had pills for the times he felt depressed. He took a lot more medication as well. Xanax was his key to feel relieved. Randall Mindy has no understanding of the media. Randall was someone where a lot of people wouldn't look twice at. In his second phase, we see a totally different Randall Mindy. He is confident, knows exactly what to say in any conversation or TV appearance. Randall has a lot of luxury and expensive clothes. He cares about how the world sees him. Randall is unlike his first phase, handsome in his second phase. He doesn't look for love but for pleasure and runs away from painful facts. Randall appears happier, but he also thinks he's more important than the person he loves. He's blind for Brie Eventi her looks and doesn't hesitate to leave his wife. Randall will never say anything bad about the comet and the dangers of the comet. Instead, he talks about the possibilities this comet will create. Randall Mindy, his third phase, is his best phase in my eyes. He still looks great with the beard and the hair, but he is keen on saving the Earth. Nothing stops him to accomplish his mission. He goes against the perfect media world and speaks from his heart. After he knows the world can be saved, he reunites with his family. I guess if you're world's sexiest scientist, it's that easy to reunite with your wife after you cheated on her. Randall is still an atheist, but he insists on praying before his last meal. This is because Randall seems to care about the close people around him and not as much about himself anymore, and his status in the media. Randall won't die alone, as predicted by Peter Isherwell's algorithm. Instead, he died relatively happy with his family and friends. And with that said, this was the first episode of Analyzing Everyone. I really hope some people will see this, but if not, I'm still pretty happy by what I produced. Tips and suggestions for other characters can be left in the comments, and consider subscribing if you like this concept. And I guess I will see you soon.